Coming up, WWE management are reportedly very keen to nab one of AEW's current crop of talent. Corey Graves has been cleared to return to the ring after 7 years, and is Johnny Gargano returning to the ring in 2 weeks' time?
Support WrestleTalk!
And we start with the news that while WWE already has the conductor of the concerto on their books, they are reportedly looking at someone to strike up a symphony. In recent weeks on AEW, Wardlow had stepped out of the shadow of MJF and begun to win over the crowd with his plethora of powerbombs, also launching Mr. Mayhem to a total of 40 wins in the company and the number 2 ranked contender spot in AEW. Now, the sound of slapped meat has reportedly reverberated across the WrestleSphere and pricked the ears of Vince & Co., who are always on the hunt for ham hocks to hog. By which I mean that WrestleVotes are reporting that WWE management have some serious interest in signing him. They said, "I can confirm without hesitation that WWE will be extremely interested in luring Wardlow away from AEW when his contract is due. There are several people within World Wrestling Entertainment that love his potential." I wonder what it was that made him look so attractive. Was it his size, his power, or the fact that he was beating the shit out of CM Punk? Boggles the mind. Because Wardlow definitely does fit the mold that WWE desires for its superstars, but it really does feel like he is also on the verge of this big breakout moment in AEW. So what do you reckon? Should he stay or should he go? If he's obviously offered the choice. In other news, we could be seeing the return to the ring of one of WWE's commentary team. And it's not Michael Cole, thankfully. Corey Graves was a former NXT Tag Team Champion before being sidelined back in 2014 after suffering from multiple concussions. With his in-ring career over, Graves then pivoted to become an announcer for NXT before moving up to the main roster, where he is now. And now, 7 years later, Fightful Select are reporting that Graves may have been cleared for a return to action proper. They said sources close to Graves claim he was cleared by WWE doctors sometime in the last year, though this obviously hasn't been confirmed by WWE themselves. Graves was previously said to be on a strict no-contact list with the company because of the concussions, but has reportedly been removed from it, usually an indication that someone has been cleared, and his brief 24/7 title win came after he was removed from that list, Fightful confirmed. There have also apparently been several internal pitches made for Graves, though none of them have made it through creative, so whether he gets back into the ring in WWE remains to be seen, but it is Rumble season, and stranger things have happened. Speaking of wrestling returns, one star I'm excited to see get back into action is Jonathan Wrestling himself, a Johnny Gargano, who left NXT when his contract expired in December, and since then fans have wondered where he is going to end up, either returning to WWE or signing up for a stint in AEW, like a Kyle O'Reilly. And we may know the answer a lot sooner than we thought, because Johnny has seemingly been teasing his return, first of all tweeting, "You know, when I start working out to wrestling theme songs, the itch is slowly starting to come back." But secondly, and a bit more speculatively, selling a new t-shirt that is branded "Bet on Yourself." The key though is that it is only available for 2 weeks. And what is in 2 weeks, might you ask? Well, there's a couple of things actually. One, WWE is hosting the Royal Rumble, so we could be seeing Gargano return there for a surprise entrance, hence why he has to stop selling his own merch on Pro Wrestling Tees. Or AEW is set to be in Johnny's hometown of Cleveland on the 26th for Dynamite, exactly 2 weeks after the day that the t-shirts went on sale, meaning he could have a new t-shirt because he's just joined AEW. Make your choice, Johnny Gargano. Make your choice. And you guys make your choice as well. Where do you want to see Johnny Gargano go? Let us know in the comments down below. Ollie's going to be reviewing AEW Dynamite in just a second, but first, this.
Before we get on with the rest of the episode, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to this episode's sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. And you can get a huge starter pack by downloading Raid to your mobile phone or PC for free using my links below. Raid Shadow Legends is the greatest mobile game of all time, a dark fantasy RPG where you amass a team from over 600 champions to play through the campaign mode and save the world of Teleria. And you'll need the very best to defeat the game's biggest, baddest, and scariest new boss, The Hydra is a load of bosses rolled into one, with each head having unique mechanics. But as they weirdly said in WWE that one time, the risk is worth the reward, because if you beat one of the toughest fights in the game, you'll get some of the best artifacts it has to offer. So face the ultimate challenge and give yourself heads. heads. And remember, grind away with your chosen champions in Raid's awesome campaign mode to level up before you take the Hydra on. And if that isn't enough, this month, Raid is also giving away a super limited champion to every player in the game who logs in for 7 days between now and the 28th of January. Esports legend and Navi superstar, Simple. There's also a full schedule of New Year special events and tournaments, so use our links in the video description below or simply scan the QR code on screen now to get a huge head start in the game, where you'll get some free resources and a free mystery champion straight away to kickstart your game. My prediction is that it's multi-time WWE champion vacant. All this treasure will be waiting for new players here for the next 30 days. Raid have been one of our biggest supporters and we're so happy they're sticking with us in 2022, so please show them some love and at least click the link to check them out, as it really helps our channel. Support WrestleTalk and raid that raid. Now it's time for my review of AEW Dynamite from North Carolina. In about 5 minutes. My brain still can't handle seeing Adam Cole, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly together in an AEW ring. I only just got used to CM Punk being back again. My little Mark Hart can't take it. It was time for story time with Adam Cole, baby, where he reminded everyone he hasn't been pinned, he's undefeated in singles competition, and the boys are back together. It's a new era, which meant they were interrupted from out of COVID by Cole's other boyfriends, the Young Bucks, who want the same thing as Red Dragon, the AEW Tag Team Championships. Cole tried to play this very real sexual tension as just friendly competition, and tried to align them all against their common enemy, the Best Friends, who came out for a big brawl, which saw Chris Statlander come out to save Orange Cassidy from Adam for Britt Baker to take her out. Britt, this was strictly between boyfriends. The Bucks and Red Dragon are going to be even more jealous now. A lot of stuff happened on this show. Returns, debuts, Dax Harwood calling Arn Anderson daddy, but the visual of Britt Baker pushing the Bucks aside so she can kiss Cole was the best thing for me, because not only does it prove heels can be in love too, but it could also be the start of the act to rule them all, Baker and Cole, which begins next week with an intergender tag of Britt and Cole versus Statlander and Cassidy. Eat your heart out, Ms. Maurice, Beth and Edge. Speaking of someone being caught in the middle of their best friends warring, my best friends CM Punk and MJF continued their feud by Punk taking on Wardlow next, in a match telling the story of Wardlow's size, power, speed, endurance, moveset, strength, force, ponytail, versus Punk's experience, I guess? Yeah, he pretty much got the beat out of him for 15 minutes. The turning point was Punk's unforced error, flipping off MJF rather than concentrating on his opponent in the moment. Letting Wardlow hit 5 consecutive powerbombs. Wardlow had it won, but MJF demanded more powerbombs. 2 more in the ring, 1 through the table outside. Sure, it was part of MJF's strategy to injure Punk before their eventual match, but don't dismiss jealousy too. I felt like there's a part of MJF that didn't want Wardlow to beat Punk before him. It was this greed and pride that let Punk get the win, pinning Wardlow in a surprise inside cradle. It is a great story, somehow putting over Wardlow incredibly strongly, still giving Punk the win, and furthering the Wardlow-MJF split, which almost happened in the post-match before Shawn Spears broke them up. MJF cut a furious promo later saying Punk will be getting his first L next week. It's the match we all want to see. CM Punk versus Shawn Spears, finally! Dante Martin beat Powerhouse Hobbs next in pretty much the same story, only Hobbs wasn't a conflicted babyface. Far from it. He was just all about destroying Martin for 10 minutes. Lio Rush was weirdly absent despite being on previous match graphics, so Jay Lethal randomly helped Dante win by taking out an interfering Ricky Starks. Thanks for your support on Patreon, WrestleTalk's personal ring announcer Rodrigo Benitez, and the Rude Ruler Ruben. You can get your shout out by going to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. With Bryan Danielson beaten and now 100% definitely preparing for the Royal Rumble, Hangman Page cut a promo about needing a new challenger, which was answered by walking Facebook page Dan Lambert. It's a bit like walking Armageddon. but a Facebook page. I know he rubs some people the wrong way, but I think Lambert is a genius. Rather than tear apart Hangman like he could easily do like he's done to other faces, he took the very smart angle of praising Page as a wrestler, his achievements, and his incredible matches. It's the cowboy gimmick he zeroed in on for being fake and besmirching the great name of Dick Murdoch, still creating tension while putting over Page when he needs to. We also got a brief AEW production experiment in this segment. Real-time Zoom calls. Unfortunately for Hangman, a new account just joined the chat. The returning Lance Archer, who teased going for Lambert, but hit a blackout on Page through a steel chair instead. I love Archer, but he needs a lot of rebuilding to follow Danielson as Page's next challenger. We'll have to see if he's still with Jake Roberts too, as this kind of implied he's with Lambert now. Serena Deeb took out Shida before their match began with a kendo stick and then worked over her knee so much Paul Turner stopped the match. Unfortunately, I feel the booking is getting in the way of what made Sheena versus Deeb so good at the start. Them actually wrestling without having to perpetually set up rematches. Send for the man! Jungle Boy immediately started to corpse when John Silver interrupted their promo. They'll have a tag match on Rampage. AEW is so good at handling heels getting babyface reactions in their home states. Matt Hardy leaned into North Carolina, but ultimately lost to Penta. Penta called out Malachi Black afterwards, who's like a really impatient Beetlejuice. He just turns up if you say his name once. They brawled and the Varsity Blondes came out to join in, but Malachi was laughing. He was one step ahead again. The lights went down and up again, revealing a debuting Brody King, who proceeded to destroy all the faces. The House of Black now has a fully fledged tag team. But why stop there? AEW does need more factions. A few segments later, we got a video package of a blindfolded Pac, who we haven't seen for 2 months. But rather than cutting a promo of revenge on the man who blinded him, he was almost grateful to Malachi, as now he says he can see better than ever. There were candles, there were tarot cards. But this isn't your mum's friend Jane getting her weekly fortune telling. It's a con, Jane, you're wasting money. This seemed to be Pac joining the House of Black too. The Acclaimed got an easy win over Bear Country to keep their #1 tag team ranking going, and then brawled with Darby Allin and It's Sting afterwards. And the main event saw Sammy Guevara defend his freshly won interim TNT title against Daniel Garcia, with both Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston trying to be in Sammy's corner. Sammy is just incredible to watch, but Garcia, oh boy, he's my type. I feel like I'm watching my favourite style of wrestling, violent technical grappling, but his speed and viciousness makes it completely new. Sammy hit a crossroads to keep his Cody plate spinning, rather giving away the result, and then won the match thanks to 2.0 interference backfiring. Jericho and Eddie overshadowed the youngsters a bit by getting in each other's faces to close the show, but that is the main feud to tell here. What did you think of Dynamite? Let me know in the comments. 75% of you voted for Adam and Britt, heart emoji, in our poll on a poll match on the community tab. Adam and Britt, the Punk Wardlow match, Brody King's debut, Lance Archer's return, the main event. This was a terrific episode of TV. But AEW is a victim of their own success. You know what I'm going to say. It wasn't an all-time great show, so it just gets a measly 4 out of 5. Now go watch last night's huge Quizzlemania tag team special. Sex.
Celebration.
Between.
Edge.
And.
Lita.
Happened.
In.
WWE.
It.
Was.
Very.
Erotic.
For.
Me.
And.
You.